Biggest concern was first and foremost, what is the impact for this deer and elk herd over the long term going to be? What's the rate of spread? What's the impact on mortality?
In terms of actual mortality caused by the disease, we can get a bit of that from understanding what the prevalence rates are, and since this disease is always fatal, we can sort of assume, okay, if this percentage of the population is infected, that percentage of the population will die. So if we are to continue this fantastic and long-fought and hard-won tradition of hunting in North America, we have to realize that as our needs change, as our culture changes, as our species changes, so too do the management needs and parameters we need to secure for the wildlife species that we affect.
In my 23 years of whitetail hunting, I've probably gotten roughly 20 deer, and I've had 2 come back as CWD. I believe from my readings that CWD is a concern to the whitetail deer population in the state, and I'm not aware of any solutions to that, and concerned that it's going to continue to spread.
In east central Wyoming, the high incidence capital of CWD in our state, it runs 50 to 60% of the harvested deer. So there's a vast pantheon in between 0 to say 60%, depending on the area you check in Wyoming.
The question about what risk that CWD poses to the health of and really the productivity of big game herds, deer and elk, is really unanswered. I think what we know today is that as long as we can manage to keep that rate of prevalence low, less than 5%, it appears that it's just another form of mortality and maybe even compensatory to some degree. When we get up into, say, in that Boulder study area, 20, 30, 40% rates of prevalence, depending on sex and age, we see a fairly dramatic effect on productivity of those deer herds. The density of that Boulder deer herd is substantially lower than it was, say, 30 years ago.
Certainly, there is some impact from CWD. We have not been able to identify that specifically, but deer that contract the disease are dying, and that does result in some loss of hunter opportunity.
I would say that in regards to the ultimate impact of chronic wasting disease on populations of deer and elk, I think the current belief is that it will not drive populations to extinction, but it will have an impact on lowering the numbers of deer or elk in a given area.